Greetings gamers, I'm Shoot Kapow, and it's been a while, but now it's time for a tough solo run. Today we're going to figure out if I can beat Pokemon Scarlet with a team of only one Pawmi. Here are the stats I'm used to. We have abysmal bulk, but at least our offenses and speed are less awful. We might struggle against Pokemon that are faster than us, but I don't think there are too many big fights with super effective moves against us. Our moveset looks good with coverage for lots of things, but we might have to use Terrestrialization to get out of tougher fights. As always, I'm writing the script as I go through the challenge, so all of this is being written before the run started. Go ahead and leave your predictions on whether or not we can win. I'm sure we will with a good Terra type, but at what level I'm not sure. Major fights could be roadblocks, but I'm mostly worried about the Titans. Hopefully they'll be easy enough since they'll sometimes target Arven instead of us. Let's go ahead and give a quick rundown of the rules. In combat I'm only allowed to use Pawmi. In fact, I'm only allowed to use Pawmi for the entire run since there aren't any HMs required in this game. Guess I'm allowed to ride on Koraidon? I don't know. No items are allowed in battle, only Pokeballs in the odd case of a shiny, and I guess for the catch tutorial Lechonk, held items and items outside of battle are allowed. With all that out of the way, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more, and let's hop into it. After approximately 15 hours and 27 minutes of unskippable intro content, I catch a Pawmi on Route 1 that I named Pawmi. Our nature is modest, boosting our special attack while lowering our attack. It's not the best, but we can at least run mixed sets a little better. After 3 hours and 42 minutes of more cutscenes, we have a couple battles. We actually almost lost to Arven Squavit, but he luckily just threw with Tailwind. Ramona isn't as easy. We aren't even able to get our Sprigatito into the yellow before we go down. This Pokemon is really frail. Finally, after a grand total of 21 hours and 13 minutes of unskippable intro content, we managed to actually begin playing the game. We have access to a few boss fights, most notably the Cloth Titan and the Bug and Grass Gyms. Since the Grass Gym resists our stab, I'll probably leave it for later, and I'm definitely going to need more levels before I think of tackling anything. I want to get to Medali as soon as I can so I can change my Terra type whenever, though that may add length to the run. I decided that the best course of action is just to level up for now. We have far too little damage output to be doing any major fights right now, but we can at least unlock the locations for later, get items and levels, and see what new moves we can learn. We've reached Cortando before making our way over to Artisan, and it's staggering just how little damage we're doing. Being a physical electric type is awful early on, but hopefully soon we can fix that. I'm really dreading the Cloth Titan since I can kill it fast and we can't easily take it out. On the way to Artisan, I come across this trainer with a Larvitar who we almost beat, but we get taken out by Payback eventually because it's so much bulkier than us. Luckily, we learned Dig at level 15, which lets us take it out easily on the next try. Dig is going to be very good moving forward since it's an 80 power move that can hit or resists hard. Unfortunately, it's not very effective into the first two gyms, though it might help against Cloth. Now it's time to go ahead and take on the Bug Gym. Nimble is up first and it hits surprisingly hard with Struggle Bug. I use Nuzzle on turn 1 before remembering a weird quirk of Terra that boosts single hit moves below 60 power up to 60 before calculating damage, effectively making Nuzzle a 60 power move before the Terra boost and stab. I can use that to my advantage, but without it, Nimble becomes a 3-hit KO. We're at about half health as Tarantula comes out, but unfortunately we just aren't bulky enough to take it down. Let's try again. I think we can at least make it to Teddiursa if we Terra earlier. With lots of good paralysis luck, Nimble is a safe 2-shot and Tarantula only hits us once. And Teddiursa turns out to be a 4th KO after one turn of paralysis. Our own strategy is used against us as Terra Bug boosts the power of Fury Cutter, taking us out in one hit. It's clear that we have to get very lucky to take down this fight at this point, but luckily Gen 9 offers lots of options even early on. I'll try getting more levels on the way to the Dark Team Star base and see what I can do there, then come back. On the way, I decided to try my luck at the Titan Bombardier, but Wing Attack just 2-shots us easily. Terra Electric Nuzzle might be enough with more levels. I have some XP handy, so let's level up and try again. At level 21, Wing Attack takes out exactly half our health, but we do a ton of damage with Nuzzle. We heal out of range by the time it moves again, but it just gets paralyzed as we take it out and move on to phase 2. Arven shows up to provide cover fire with his Knackley, and our Terra Orb is charged again, but we're still damaged. We do big damage and paralyze with Nuzzle as it attacks into Arven and he just uses Rock Polish, and he does the same on the next turn as we get into range of another Nuzzle. Luckily, paralysis keeps it from moving again as Arven decides to get to +6 speed for some reason, but we don't need him thanks to the power of Terra Electric Nuzzle, taking out the Titan Bombardier single-handedly. It's time to take on Team Star, and the Merker outside does a worrying amount of damage before we can 2-shot it. Now it's time to take on the Team Star base, but we can't without 3 Pokemon in our party. Well, this is awkward. Guess I need a couple Magikarp now? I'll do this in the same vein as challenges when you need HM Pokemon. I can use them for this in double battles, but nothing else. The first part is fine if a little slow. The time limit is incredibly lenient, so it isn't that hard, but the fight goes awfully. They crit Fury Cutter on the first turn to do half our health, and then we paralyze them with Static before going for Dig, making sure that their next one hits to take us out. I don't think we're a high enough level yet anyway. Let's go take on the Bug Gym and do some other stuff before coming back. Speaking of which, we crush Nimble and Tarantula, but Teddiursa is a damage range to be 2-hit KO'd and takes out an insane amount of health with Fury Cutter. My heart drops as it lives on a sliver from our second Nuzzle, but a clutch turn of paralysis lets us live and take it out, securing the first gym badge. Continuing with the boss rush, the Titan Cloth is next. I misinput Thundershock on turn 1 as I eat a Rock Smash, but on the second turn I Terra Electric and hit a strong Nuzzle to get some paralysis and some Shell Bell healing. It wastes a turn going for block, and then I use Dig, avoiding its follow with Vice Grip. I deal a lot of damage proccing Anger Shell, and it does a lot of damage with Rock Smash before we take it out. Luckily, we get a chance to heal this time before phase 2. On turn 1, we tear Electric Nuzzle as Shoulder goes for Leer, and then we get crit and defense drop by Rock Smash before getting the chance to use Dig. After we come back up, Shoulder heals us with Life Dew as Claw loses a turn to Paralysis, and the next turn it just blocks Shoulder as it gets hit with Leer. We knock it into Anger Shell range next, but luckily goes for Shoulder as it retaliates with a Water Gun, winning the fight. Afterward, we learn Spark, a move that's not only stronger than Thunderbolt but uses our higher physical attack stat. Before I continue exploring, I'll go ahead and try my hand at the Grass Gym. I'm not confident, but it's at least worth a shot. He leads Petalil as I tear out Electric to get some extra damage off with Nuzzle, and it does a surprising amount. Unfortunately, I'm instantly put to sleep, and Mega Drain is quickly reverting all my progress. I wake up after 2 turns, but with no help from Paraflinch, it's too late. Let's try again with the Chesto Berry. This time around, Petalil gets paralyzed on turn 1 and doesn't even go for Sleep Powder, but it does take out over half our health with Mega Drain. Smoliv is next, and it's still doing big damage, and our Paraflinch luck just decided to be awful, causing us to go down. Yeah, this isn't happening anytime soon. Let's go mess around and come back later. Honestly, the run is going great so far. It's nice to come back to Pokemon challenges with a much more open one than I'm used to. I'm usually stuck at tough gym fights having to grind a lot to get anywhere, but in Scarlet I can kinda just run around wherever until I'm strong enough to do something in boss fights. Having an electric type is pretty nice too, as it's a solid type with only one weakness, and potentially having access to different Terra types later could be very helpful. After running around getting levels for a while, I try my hand at the Dark Base again. Thanks to outspeeding Pawniard, we take it out while taking minimal damage, and out comes the Starmobile. We're hit by Intimidate, lowering our damage output, and for some reason Nuzzle just doesn't paralyze. I assume this is some unexplained quirk of this weird rushed game, and I switch to Spark. Unfortunately, Riverroom hits us with 2 metal sounds, causing us to be one-shot by Snarl of all moves. Man, this sucks. Let's just go back to Artisan. With a lucky flinch, Petalil was no issue, and Smoliv doesn't do much as we take it down, so it's onto his ace Sudowoodo. I tear out Electric Nuzzle for the paralysis, as it does as much as a bite, but he gets a crit rock throw for a lot of damage. The next turn we manage to flinch it, and after that is a crit, but he brings us to 5 HP with a Trailblaze and just takes us out on the follow-up. Man, this Pokemon is weak. Do we actually have to grind in a Scarlet run? For the most part, I'm just running around fighting raids and trainers that I think I can beat. I have to heal after almost every fight because I just take so much damage. Even not very effective hits from Pokemon 10 levels below me do a lot, and I can't OHKO them back with something super effective. I make my way to the water gym and decide to give it a try, but not before stopping by Delibird Presence to buy a magnet and leftovers, which will be some very helpful items moving forward. Getting a little more damage could be big, and that little bit of healing could be incredible moving forward. There are also nature mints in this game that I can use to change my awful modest nature, but I haven't run into anything good yet. We challenge the gym at level 37, but it's still tough. A Terra Electric Magnet boosted Spark doesn't OHKO Veluza, and we're hit hard with an Aqua Cutter before taking it down. Wugtrio's out next, but it just outspeeds and takes us down to the Headbutt. We can't even take down the Water Gym when we're 7 levels higher than them? Really? Now that I'm a far higher level than the Dark Base, I decide to try my luck there again. Pawniard still barely lives a dig and crits us with Fury Cutter in return, but we take it down and move on to the Starmobile. I didn't heal so I can't Terrastallize, and I'm still doing barely anything as I just go down to a few Wicked Torques. This fight is awful! I come back with Terra and 2-shot Pawniard with Nuzzle, though I still take some damage. We take a big chunk of damage from Wicked Torque before paralyzing Revavroom, and it still outspeeds us as we do far too little damage with Spark. We're brought to 1 HP after Snarl, and we go down soon after. The Starmobile just has 2 good stats for us to beat it this early. I can tell the Team Star is going to have the worst fights this run. With not many other options, I head back to the Grass Gym. We're luckily able to OHKO Petalil with a crit Spark, and Smoliv goes down the same. We're back out to Sudowoodo, and I paralyze it with Nuzzle first thing, doing almost half its health with a crit. We take surprisingly little from Trailblaze, and put Sudowoodo into range of Spark before finishing it off, finally winning the Grass Gym without even dipping below half health. I must say it's refreshing to finally win a fight, but it doesn't get any easier from here. Great Tusk is going to be awful, and we only have one more fight that we're super effective into, that being Dondozo. We're really bad into grass and ground types, not being able to learn any moves to hit them super effectively, and I'm afraid we're going to have to be level 100 before we even make it to Area 0 or the fights before it. Maybe later in the run I'll be able to use Terra Ice, Terra Blast. While I'm in the area, I try my luck at the Titan Earthworm. I go for Spark instead of Nuzzle on the first turn, but luckily still get the paralysis. I'm hit hard with an Iron Tail, but it's paralyzed the next turn so we bring it even lower. Its next Iron Tail misses, granting us a pretty lucky victory. It tunnels away, giving us a chance to heal, and it's on to phase 2. We Terra Electric Nuzzle on turn 1 to paralyze it as Arven's Toadschool hits a surprisingly strong Grass Knot. Sandstorm goes up as we nail it with a Spark, and Toadschool hits a double power Hex as it takes big damage from Headbutt. Luckily the next turn we're able to take it out, winning a surprisingly easy fight. Well, no time with the present to try getting a little farther. I come across the Poison Team Starbase and decide to give it a shot. The Star Barrage is tougher than at the Dark Base, but I actually find out here that I can use the vending machines to heal up, which I actually don't think was stated in the game. My bad for missing it if it was though. Atticus leads with a level 32 Skuntank, so I instantly Terra Electric and use Nuzzle. I know that this thing is strong. We get poisoned by a Toxic right away and do minuscule damage, pretty much dooming us instantly. We use Dig as it does nothing, but we still don't do much damage as the poison gets stronger. Spark leaves it on a sliver and we just get taken out by Venoshock. Yeah, this isn't happening. Let's leave Team Star alone for now and focus on the gyms. For now, I'm thinking the order we should go in is Water Gym, Electric Gym, and then try our luck with the Dark Base again, and maybe onto Larry after that. After Larry, we can change our Terra type after either hours of grinding or a quick transfer to my main file, and in order for this video to actually be released sometime within my lifetime, I'll probably go with the latter. However, I don't entirely like using supplements from outside the save file to win the run, so changing my Terra type is a last resort. I'll only do it if I either end up getting the required shards from grinding, which isn't happening, or if I just end up getting a wallet at level 100 expressly for the sake of seeing if the challenge is possible. Send your comments, but at the end of the day, this is my run and that's the way it's gonna be, and how I think I can make the most people happy. Before I can do all that though, I get jump scared by a Nemona battle after walking into the Water Gym. Her lead Rockruff goes down to a dig, as does her own Pawmi. Take that, Faker! Her last Pokemon is Florigato, who will end up being a much bigger issue than I thought going forward. None of our current moves hit Meowscarada for super effective damage, and our bite doesn't do much as we take a pretty weak Magical Leaf. We bring it to a Sliver with Terra Electric Spark, but we'll almost go down to an Overgrow boosted Magical Leaf. We won thanks to the sheer level difference, but it was way too close. I'm probably going to end up needing Play Rough in the future to hit the Grass Dark type she'll eventually have, or I'm screwed. Now for the actual gym. Veluza gets outsped in one shot by Terra Electric Spark, but we're still outsped by Wugtrio and hit hard by a Headbutt. Luckily we don't flinch, letting us take it out. Our speed is lowered by Gooey though, which could be an issue. Grabominable is last, and we do still outspeed it, but it lives a spark and takes us out with a slam. If we can just outspeed Wugtrio, we'll be fine. I get to level 44 and Lord Wild Charge, so Veluza goes down in one hit, and Wugtrio doesn't flinch us. It all comes down to whether or not we're able to OHKO Grabominable. I Terra Electric and click Wild Charge, and I hold my breath as his HP bar ticks down. Will I finally get past this huge obstacle? I let out a sigh of relief as the giant crab goes down in one hit, but then the recoil takes us out, causing us to lose the fight because Pokemon is an awful game. This is really making me flash back to the Starly run again. Why do all my best moves have to do recoil? Alright, I'm getting sick of this. I level up to level 50 and go again. I use Terra Electric, Nuzzle, and Veluza to save on HP, and despite Wugtrio still outspeeding us, we managed to not flinch again and take it out, going into Grabominable on about half health. This lets us barely live in the red from recoil, finally beating the Water Gym and run with an Electric type. 20 levels above them. This is really gonna be tough, huh? Well, no better time to go ahead and try the Dark Base again, just for the heck of it. Ponyard's basically a non-factor, so let's skip to the Starmobile. I once again forgot to restore my Terra, which really sucks because we still get outsped. Luckily, we're finally bulky enough to eat a Snarl after a Metal Sound, but the recoil from Wild Charge really hurts. Luckily, we're able to barely live, finally beating the fight. You know what? I'm feeling like doing a boss rush, as if that hasn't been most of the run up to now. I pull up to the Electric Gym to show Iona who the real Electric type master is. First though, I go ahead and do something I should have done a while ago and replace Nuzzle with Discharge. My attack and special attack are about equal, so it just makes sense to have something to hit it on the special side. This immediately comes in handy since Iona's Luxio actually has Intimidate. Her lead Watchel gets OHKO'd, and Luxio actually goes down just as easily to Terra Electric Discharge. Bullywult takes a little over half its health and does pitiful damage with a Water Gun, and last is Miss Magius. She takes a lot of damage from a crit, but she ends up hitting a Confuse Ray. Luckily, we hit through the confusion, getting a surprisingly easy win. Have we finally reached the stage where we can sweep through a few fights? I might as well take on the Poison Starbase again. Right away, we're hit hard with a Sucker Punch from Skuntank. It takes only half its health from Dig and hits us with a Toxic. I try in desperation to Terra Electric Wild Charge, but we're taking a lot of damage. He sends out his regular Revavroom, but we can't damage it and we go down. Let's try again with a Pecha Berry. This might be possible. On this attempt, Skuntank goes down in 2 hits and our Pecha Berry protects us from Toxic, but we're hit with a nasty Sucker Punch before we're able to take him out. Revavroom goes down in 1 dig, somehow not hitting us with Bulldoze, but Muk comes out and shows that it's a 3-shot with Discharge. I go for Wild Charge and do a little more as we crit and take it out, but finally it's the Starmobile, which just outspeeds and one-shots us with Noxious Torque. Yeah, we're not beating this one yet, I'll come back later. For now, I decide to head to Medali for the normal gym, which means googling the question for the gym test once again. The real issue though is Larry himself. My first course of action, as usual, is to click my Terra Electric Discharge against his lead Komala. It looks like a clean 2-shot, but then we're instantly taken out by Slam and a Sucker Punch. Cool, time to grind. After using all of my remaining XP candy, we're at level 55. Kamala goes down in a single Terra Electric Wild Charge, but we take a lot of recoil. Sparks gets paralyzed, but breaks through and brings us to only 13 HP with Drill Run before we can take it out. We have to go for Discharge against Staraptor because of this and Intimidate, and I hold my breath as he terastallizes, but he just outspeeds and OHKOs with Facade. I come back at level 63 and with a brand new Thunderbolt TM. Terra Electric T-Bolt is able to blaze Kamali easily, but Dodon lives on a sliver and takes out a lot of our health with Drill Run. It all comes down to Staraptor, but we're able to outspeed it, taking it out in 1 hit to finally win this tough fight. Right after though, we're jumped by Nemona. We managed to outspeed her lead Lycanroc and Okowit, but next up is the Dragon-type Goomy. Dig just barely misses out on the KO, but we don't take too much from Dragon Pulse and take it out. Her own Pawmi comes out, but one dig is enough to bring it down, and last is her Meowscarada. She terrestrializes to grass as I quick Thunderbolt, but we just end up getting outsped and taken out by Flower Trick. Luckily, we don't need to win this fight, so we just move on to take on the Titan Dondozo and Tatsugiri. Dondozo gets paralyzed by Terra Electric Nuzzle, but does huge damage with Body Slam in return. We get it to a sliver with Thunderbolt before getting taken out. On the second attempt, we're luckily able to just two-shot it with Thunderbolt. However, it's not quite over yet, as we still have to face its second phase alongside Arven. It just goes down in 2 hits as it attacks into Arven's slot, but Tatsugiri is much harder. It uses Icy Wind right away, luckily missing us, as we're only doing chip damage with Thunderbolt. On the second turn, it wastes time going for a taunt, but its follow-up Icy Wind does half our health. It taunts again on the next turn, but we manage to paralyze it, and Gradient takes it down with, well, the takedown, thanks to its tail whip the previous turn, winning a close fight. With that, we gain the ability to climb with Koraidon, letting us access the TM for Play Rough. And this move is a lot bigger than you'd think. It's the only super effective attack we have against the Titan Great Tusk, though due to its incredible stats, we still may need to use Terra against it even at level 100. For now though, I decide to head back to the Poison Team Starbase. It's a sweep all the way up to the Starmobile, but we're outsped and poisoned first thing. Thunderbolt barely misses out on the 2 at KO, meaning we're taken out just before we can win. I actually have a pretty cool idea to win though. On the second attempt, we make it back to Revibrune and hit 2 Thunderbolts, but we're low on health. Luckily, due to getting a couple high rolls, we're able to quick attack, outpacing the Starmobile and finally winning this awful fight. After that, we head to the Fire Team Starbase, but thanks to the insane level gap, they get swept easily. We don't really have a whole lot of options from here on out though. Of the remaining fights, we have the Ghost, Psychic and Ice Gyms, the Titan Great Tusk, and the Fighting and Fairy Team Starbases. All of these are fairly high level, and we don't have super effective stab against any of them. The only real course of action here is just to level up until I can snag a win against one of these fights, so I'll just grind and run attempts until I can get one for you guys. At level 76, we try our luck at the Psychic Gym again. Farigiraf still has a Thunderbolt, and somehow Gardevoir does too, despite being much more frail. After that, Espatra just comes out and takes us down with a Quick Attack. We go ahead and get up to level 86, and the first 2 go down in a single hit each. Espatra is one shot as well, but our Ace Fortress has an insane Special Bolt, meaning we'll need to try another strategy. As she tears to Psychic, we paralyze her with a Nuzzle, bringing her to half health, but she retaliates with a nasty Moonblast. Luckily, we take it well enough and hit her one last time, winning the fight. You know what? I'm feeling up to another boss rush right about now. Our next target is the dreaded Double Battle Gym against the Ghost Gym Leader. We'll have to bring one of the Magikarp into battle with us since they won't let us challenge without 2 Pokemon in our party, but all it can really do is eat 1 attack before going down. First though, it's time to fight Nemona again. Lycanroc is an easy one-shot as always, but next is Sliggoo. Luckily we taught Play Rough, which was able to land and snag the KO. Her Pawmi is a one-shot with Dig, further showing our superiority, but the terrifying Meowscarada Ace is up last. She terrestrializes grass as we click Thunderbolt, which stands at a higher power than Play Rough thanks to our boosts, but it only does a little over half as she retaliates with her own strong attack. We're hit by Flower Trick, but we manage to clutch it out on 35 HP and hit back, winning the fight. Now it's time to get right into the Ghost Gym battle. I switched up my moves a little for the occasion, hopping right into it with a Terra Electric Discharge to not only take out my Magikarp, which Mimikyu kindly did for me anyway, but also to break Mimi's disguise while taking out Banette as well. Thanks to my turn 1 Terra, I get an Omni Boost, meaning I'm able to OHKO both the Mimikyu and the Houndstone, turning the battle into a 1v1. The only Pokemon left is her Toxtricity, which goes Terra Ghost as I click a now +2 Terra Electric Thunderbolt, securely winning a pretty intimidating fight. Speaking of intimidating fights, the Titan Great Tusk is up next. I forgot to record Phase 1, but it just went down in 2 Play Roughs after hitting a Rapid Spin and getting paralyzed in the process. During Phase 2, we hit it for about a quarter of its health, but it immediately crits Arven Scoville into OHKO before hitting us with a nasty Brick Break. I thought we were doomed for sure, but then it just went for Rapid Spin and got paralyzed, doing the exact same thing it did in Phase 1 and winning us the fight. Man, wild Pokemon can be really stupid sometimes. With that though, we finally beaten every Titan, so I decided to go ahead and fight Arven. His Gradient lives Thunderbolt on a good chunk of health and retaliates with a nasty Earthquake, and next up is Garganacl, who takes just over half and does the exact same thing, quickly taking us out. Yeah, it's pretty clear we're not winning this fight. All of the end of route battles are far closer to our current level, so it's probably a better idea to take them all on after we finish the rest of the story battles, or at least take them on in stages. After all our current stuff, we have Arven, the Pokemon League, and the Fighting type Starbase. Then it's the Starfall Street battles in Nemona, and then, if we manage to reach that stage of the game, Area 0. We're only 13 levels off from level 100, so I think it's pretty clear we'll need new Terra types to beat this challenge. The only question is what to use. For now though, it's time to go ahead and take on Grusha to nab our final gym badge. Frostmoth is out first, and I assume that it has Ice Scale, so I use Nuzzle, but it lives and doesn't get paralyzed thanks to Shield Dust. It sets up Tailwind and misses a Blizzard before going down, and our next 2 Pokemon are OHKOs, since the Titan now speeds us thanks to the Tailwind, critting an Ice Spinner for a little over half our health. Last is his Ace Altaria, which of course gives our Thunderbolt, but due to our level advantage, Dragon Pulse misses out on the KO, letting us win the fight, leaving just 1 fight in this phase of the challenge. While we fight our way through the space, let's discuss the League. It starts off with a huge problem, that being Rika. Terra Grass seems like the best option against her thanks to her Whiscash, but that quickly becomes a problem in later fights. Another issue is her Clodsire, which has amazing special bulk, but poor physical defense. Dig seems like the obvious play, but Earthquake would hit us way too hard, and she terrestrializes to pure ground anyway. Moving on, Poppy isn't too bad if we manage to get past her Camparaja without taking too much damage, but Magnezone can be annoying if it gets up Light Screen. For the most part though, Thunderbolt's great here. Larry isn't too much of a problem with Terra Ice. Without it, so many of his mons become neutral to Electric, making him an issue if we use Terra Grass to get past Rika. Hassel makes another strong case for Terra Ice, with basically his entire team just folding to it and play rough. I think the main course of action here is just to switch to Terra Ice and hope all goes well. For now though, we have to face off against Ortega. His lead Azumarill gets obliterated by Terra Electric Thunderbolt, and in the ultimate show of power creep, so does Wigglytuff, and his Darkspun goes down to a crit. Last is the Starmobile, which sets up Misty Terrain. We actually outspeed it as it does nothing with Steel Roller, and it looks like it's a solid 3-hit with Thunderbolt. He hits a Confuse Ray, but we break through on the 3rd hit, winning the fight. Next, I want to go ahead and take on Arven at level 100 before I change my Terra, since he probably requires raw damage more than anything. Greedent finally goes down in one hit, but Garganacl lives with a sizable chunk of health and does far too much damage with Earthquake. Next is Toedscruel though, and there's no way we're beating this guy. Playref didn't even do half. We'll just have to come back with Terra Ice. I have an interesting plan, however. With a Bravement, we can change our nature to be plus attack instead of minus. This makes our physical attack higher than our special attack, which in turn makes Terra Ice Blast a physical move. This lets it not only hit Toedscruel harder, but also Rika's Quadsire. And the best part is we can always change our nature back with a Modest Mint, letting us do more damage without recoil thanks to having Thunderbolt over Wild Charge. I'm honestly really proud for coming up with this strategy, and I'm probably going to need it in all honesty. Our first try with Terra Ice goes badly. Greedent isn't a one-shot anymore, meaning it gets to hit us with Earthquake for free. This puts us down in the yellow as Garganacl comes out, and it takes exactly half from Thunderbolt as it just hits us with Body Press to take us out. This is really bad. On our second try we equip a Shucca Berry, but for whatever reason Greedent just decides that Body Slam is the best play. In fact, Garganacl also just goes for Stone Edge. Does the AI somehow know our item? Well, I might be able to use this to my advantage since Dig seems like a 2-shot on guard. On this next attempt, we're crit down to 17 HP by Earthquake after we hit a Dig, but we go underground again and are just hit instantly. Okay, I think the only course of action here is to crit Greedent since that's the only way we won't take too much damage going into Garganacl. I decide to learn Thunder, which immediately pays off as I luck out, fully paralyzing Greedent on the first try. However, I immediately choke against Garganacl by not going for Dig turn 1, but he luckily just uses Stone Edge twice, letting me take him out safely. Oh, I never learned Terra Blast. I think we can just teach it over Wild Charge at this point, honestly. After countless attempts, I'm finally able to get past Garganacl. At this point, I know that he can see my item, so the path is to high roll against Greedent since I bought more mints and EV items so that Thunder can kill, Terra Ice and Thunder into Garg's Earthquake, and take him out with Terra Ice Blast. From there, I either need to crit Scovillain or hope the Fire Blast misses, and as long as I don't miss from there, I'm home free. After countless attempts, we finally manage to crit Scovillain, and Terra Blast is a one-shot against Toedscruel. Cloyster dodges a Thunder, however, causing us to take lots of damage from Liquidation before going down. Last up is Mabostiff, who intimidates us, dropping our attack, so that we have to go for Thunder. It hits and paralyzes, but we don't get the full para, causing us to go down to Fire Fang. I'm sure we can win this fight with just a little more luck. No, this fight is absolutely brutal. I feel like I'm bashing my head against a wall, but after all the luck needed to even get to Mabostiff, it's such a tough fight to actually win. However far in I get, however many times I manage to get past Scoville, and I'm always one turn of bad Thunder luck away from losing again. I had a friend of mine do some calculations and found out that my chances of winning this fight are somewhere around 1 in 1250, which is interesting, to say the least. Honestly, I might just try my luck at the Elite Four before I get too into this. First up is Ground Trainer Rika. We lead with Terra Ice Blast into Whiscash, which does just above half as we eat in Earth Power. Camerupt is next, but it just gets one shot by Dig. But Donphan lives Terra Ice Blast in the red and takes us out with Stone Edge. Maybe with a miss? Okay, a few attempts later and Donphan misses, letting us take it out. Dugtrio after outspeeds, but it just sets up Sandstorm and goes down. Last up is our Terra Ground Quadsire, and it clicks Protect on the first turn, but it doesn't end up mattering as we nab the KO on the second turn, winning the fight. Second is Steel Trainer Poppy, and Camparaja lives a Thunderbolt and does lots of damage with high horsepower. We live and take it out, but we're in rough shape. Bronzong is next, and it's a 2-shot as well, but it only leaves us on 2 HP with an Earthquake. Magnezone comes out next, but it's sturdy, meaning we can't OHKO it with Dig. Luckily, it just uses Light Screen when we come back up, but this isn't great either. Corviknight is next, and it lives Thunderbolt thanks to Light Screen, meaning we go down. Wait, I wasn't looking, what happened? Cool, I guess we beat Corviknight? Tinkaton is out last though, and there's no way we one-shot it. She terrestrializes to steal as we use Dig, but we only end up doing half as we're taken out by Gigaton Hammer. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think this one is possible without Terra Electric, and all things considered, I'm getting really sick of this run. There's absolutely no way the fighting team Starbase is possible, and I just want to get this video done already so I can move on to the next challenge. If anyone wants to try this challenge, don't. Pawmi really sucks. I'm exaggerating a little, but man, what a tough run. Getting past Rico was an accomplishment in itself, but I'm ready to move on to something else. Next up is Hard Gold with only 1 Volbeat. I mean, I get Tail Glow at least? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to watch me torture myself even more. I'm getting back into challenge runs again, as well as branching out to other forms of content like last week's Mario Kart music ranking video and more original music. Consider supporting me on Patreon or Ko-fi, and follow me on Twitter if you want to watch me slowly descend into madness. I think that's all for now though, so this is Shoot Kapow, over and out.